Shalom, shalom. I want to first off by giving all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. This is Tawaban Yahweh. I just have a quick little video I came across, and just dealing with the things that we dealing with and the times that we coming into. It was on my spirit to speak on or try and enlighten you guys and myself on what's really going on in the world. We getting closer to the times of revelations that MOTB is about to be revealed. They're setting up the playing field, like I said before, changing the infrastructure for this new wave of technology that's about to be unveiled, which they're trying to tie the human body to, and basically track and trace and survey us on a molecular level, beyond just something that's wearable or that can attach to you. They want to insert, a tracking system inside your body. And we all know, reading Revelation 13 and 16 on down, it's a mark within your right hand or in your forehead. And once you receive that mark, there is no room or no repentance that can save you. You've completely disconnected yourself and chose a side at that point. You chose to choose the side of Satan, which is Esau, Edom, so-called white man, and his, I guess you say, system of living, opposed to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai's system of living, which is to be free, to have choice, to die on their behalf for the knowledge and wisdom and understanding of the scriptures, and the warning to not receive it, and to even take death before receiving the mark, because the second death is inescapable. So, and that's leading to the ICBM missiles being detonated and spreading all across the earth, and there's no room for salvation at that point. You will not be saved. You will not be pulled out of the fire. You will not be saved from the destruction. You will simply be destroyed and consumed by the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And it's not to scare you. It's just simply to warn you. This is a warning. Every video brothers do, it's always a warning. It's always to give you a path to look at other than what you may be thinking about. So I'm going to stop my rambling. Basically, we all know they're talking about these digital IDs and tying them to, your work, your health, and your income, which is basically your job. So if you don't receive this digital ID that's about to be, coming real soon, you won't, and your flights and travel. So you won't be able to travel. You won't be able to catch flights. You won't be able to buy food, sell food. You run a business. You won't be able to do a lot of the common things that you normally do in your day-to-day life. It will be halted or, detoured due to this insurrection of digital IDs, which we know is just the playing field and the setup for the MOTB, the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, radio frequency identification chip, which will be tied to your banking, health, identity, monetary, your money, everything. So, which ultimately creates a social credit system, which is the ultimate means and tools of control. I mean, there's plenty of videos we hear people talk about it all the time, but people just don't seem to understand that this is coming. This is what's happening. And they make it seem like it's one thing, but we all know it has its nefarious intentions behind it. So, I'm gonna stop my rambling. Just go to the video. And as you read this title of the video, digital ID tied to food purchase. And it's also, do not let them implement a digital ID locally at the state level or federal level. But it's already too late because it's already implemented at these levels. It's just about the time of unveiling it. So we're already knee deep in this thing. It's just a matter of time of when they're going to start implementing these things officially and making it known. It's all talk right now. It's all talks in the word. They're desensitizing people with the word digital ID, so they're comfortable with the word digital ID and all that. But once the desensitization and that's been, sort of worked in your brain, people are going to begin to accept it once it's unveiled because they've already been comfortable with the word of it. And that's how these devils work. They just gradually implement things.
IDs as the new form of government-issued identification credentials. And they're essentially all based on your biometric data, which can be your fingerprints, your face, the iris of your eyeball. And the idea is essentially to collect all of that data and have it housed or have it tied directly to your digital ID. So your physical ID will be mapped to the digital ID. Digital IDs are not really a separate project from CBDCs and this new digital financial system. And UN documentation and also documentation from the Bank of International Settlements, they very overtly state that CBDCs and digital IDs are meant to go together. And without digital IDs, the CBDC digital finance system cannot exist. One of the reasons it can't exist without that is because of the KYC functionality built into this digital financial system. They have the know your customer protocols. They have to know who you are. And so they want to have your wallet tied to a digital ID and have that digital ID be mapped to your physical ID through the biometric data collection. So there's different efforts to make digital IDs either as NFTs, non-fungible tokens. There's also the efforts of Sam Altman of OpenAI and his WorldCoin project, whereby you scan your iris, you give them the biometric credentials of your eyeball. They give you a unique identifier, a digital ID, and it's inherently tied to a digital wallet. That is the same model the UN is using. They've already implemented it for refugees getting food assistance from the World Food Program. It's called Building Blocks. It's on blockchain. It involves refugees scanning their irises, and in order to buy food or receive their rations, they have to check out of a grocery store style place in the refugee camp, and they check out biometrically with an eyeball scan, and then the amount of food they have, the monetary value of that is subtracted from their digital wallet connected to their digital ID and their iris. So ID 2020, the UN and other stakeholders in this particular sphere often argue that the reason this is necessary is because of what they call the identity gap. And the identity gap is the claim that the lack of digital ID is preventing people, mainly the world's poor, from accessing essential services, whether it's banking, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare. They claim the only way for these people to be able to access these services is to onboard them to these identity schemes. There's a coordinated global policy push for digital IDs as the new form of government-issued identification credentials. And they're essentially all based on your biometric data.
Yeah, so as you heard the young woman say, it's all been processed and implemented through UN and the financial system and the IMF and all that. They already have the infrastructure being built and set up. It's just a point in time where they're going to unveil it. And normal pushback is going to be, I mean, when you really think about it, not a lot of people are going to take this. So what that's going to cause is disruption and chaos. And this is why I'm on 2nd Esdras 15, because this is the times that we essentially are coming into. Because once this thing gets unveiled and people are barred from buying things and selling things, it's only going to cause chaos and disruption. And people are going to start rioting and purging and stealing and all these things that's written in the Bible. So I'm gonna just grab a couple scriptures and then I'm gonna finish what I'm talking about. This is just something quick. Start at 2nd Esdras 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people, talking about us Israelites, the words of prophecy which I will put in your mouth, saith Yahushua, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. These scriptures, talking about the Holy Scriptures. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity, and that word incredulity means like disbelief or unbelief, or unable to believe something. The state of being unwilling or unable to believe something. And that's what a lot of people gonna be, because a lot of people don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in prophecy. They don't even believe in his son. They don't believe in Yahushua. So when these things start to come to fruition and start to happen, a lot of people are going to be dumbfounded in disbelief, because all they've done was doubt the words of the Holy Bible, the scriptures, the words of prophecy. So when these things start happening and they look at us, those who've been trying to convey what's happening through the scriptures and reclaiming our identity, who they were once calling crazy are now going to be the ones they're going to be looking to for answers. But still in disbelief at the fact that what was being prophesied for thousands of years is now coming to fruition in their lifetime, and they thought that they would never see it, or didn't believe that it would ever happen, because they didn't have any belief to begin with. They had no faith. So when these things start to happen, and you already understand that this is all through Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, that this was going to happen, that chaos was going to come, and you're in a calm state, or you're not acting like everybody else, people going to be looking at you like something wrong with you. Like, why ain't you freaking out like the rest of us? But you already got the knowledge and wisdom and understanding of what's going on. So therefore, fear and the spirit of fear is not in you, because you have a sound mind and a faith, because you've been given wisdom from the heavens to understand and see these things happen before they even happen. So when they do start to happen in real time, you're unaffected, because you've already imagined this thousands and thousands and thousands of times over and over, waiting on the day that it comes, having faith that then that's having faith. And the day it finally comes, it doesn't rock you the way that it rocks the person who was built on unbelief the whole time, who scoffed at you and mocked you, or mocked the Israelites. You get what I'm saying? It's going to come a point in time where people are going to put their foot in their mouth, and they're going to shut the fuck up, and they're going to start listening. But those of us who've been paying attention, we have to be ready and apt in a point to know and tell people what's going on. And I mean, you can help whoever you want in that day, but at the same time, you don't have to help. It's too late for that. Them doors of mercy is shut up. Now it's time for action. This is the time where Yahweh and Yahushua are about to start putting in work and start putting people to death for their unbelief. So I'm gonna finish on, fear not the imaginations against you, let not the incredulity or the unbelief of them trouble you that speak against you. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. See, that's what I'm talking about. Behold, saith Yahushua, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore saith Yahushua, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth to me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Why? Because we ain't gonna have no food. We're gonna be struggling because those of us who didn't take the digital ID are gonna have to go through it. We're gonna have to suffer to try and, stand our ground and have integrity for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Though we'll be taken care of, the Lord will always make a way, but it's gonna take some suffering. It's gonna take some. You're gonna have to be that difference in society and seeing like, hey, like, man, they willing to go through all that, for the sake of, not being controlled. It has to be some form of inspiration. So you're gonna have to suffer in for a little while and not having the comfortability of everyone else living in a 15-minute city. You're gonna be on a run, running from drones and robot dogs, but shit, you free. You got Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and that's enough. But the Lord is going to put a stop to it. That reign of terror is not going to be forever. It's for a short time. You feel me? So it's going to come a point in time where it's going to stop. And it's just what I read is the Lord is going to get tired. It's going to be a point in time where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, mainly Yahweh Shai, is going to be tired of it and begin to ascend down to come retrieve his men, his elect. And therefore saith Yahushua, I will surely avenge them and receive to me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, which is now Babylon, America. Spiritual Egypt, spiritual bondage. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Heavenly Father shall bring upon it. I'll skip down to 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draw near, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that's mainly talking about them Edomites, these patriotic Edomites who gon' rebel and go against the digital IDs and eventually the market of beasts, and basically destroy themselves. They're gonna stand up to government, all these 2A loving patriotic Edomites. They're gonna go and fight the government and cause civil war and destruction and chaos, and essentially decay Babylon from the inside and bring destruction. And those princes are their governments and prime ministers and all of that. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. For because the pride of the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of lack of bread, and for great tribulation. And that's what's going to happen too. A lot of people going to not take it, and it's just going to boil over into a civil, domestic, chaotic scene to where crime is just prevalent. You can't stop it. No more police, no more ambulance. It's just going to be pure chaos. And we just gonna get it has to be said and has to be drilled in your head to understand that. I'll start at 11. It's Revelation 13 and 11. And behold, another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And that's these governments, when they talk about, they look like they're there for you. They make it seem like they're there for you, but they're implementing these laws and regulations that totally go against your free will and against just a means of controlling you. The policies and the regulations and all that, they're not meant to help you or make things better. They're meant to ultimately control you and squeeze you in a tighter box of control. So they look innocent and they have these fancy suits and these clean cuts and they speak well, but when they get to, or they speak eloquently, but when they get to, instituting laws and regulations, it's totally opposite of what they look like. And he exercised all power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them that which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And that will be that digital ID. And then it will be ultimately the MOTB, the mark of the beast, the RFID chip. Because like the lady said, the physical wallet or the physical ID is your iris, your palm, your thumb, you get what I'm saying? It's your body. That will be the physical ID tied to the digital ID. Not a card, not a wallet, like something you pull out your wallet or your pocket. It's you. You're the physical ID tied to the digital ID. And he do great wonders, so that he make fire come down from heaven on the earth and the sight of men, and deceive them that dwell on earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And that's AI, ultimately, which they deem as their god or a deity. That would be the image, because they need AI in order to hook all this stuff up and have this digital infrastructure. And he had power to give life to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many should not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, mind you, I forgot what country it was, but they just elected an AI robot as their prime minister. And they lost it in the parliament building. So when you have something that can speak and give orders and dictate laws, that is a computer. I think we get the image of the beast, which is AI, along with the RFID chip. Because if a AI can now be prime minister, they have AI judges, doctors, nurses. These things are making decisions that ultimately have an impact on your life. Now, when the coding of, if a person doesn't want to take the chip or have a digital ID be killed, that's what their AI coding is going to replicate throughout all their robots, is take this, no, you get killed. So we're coming into those times where the image of the beast is now being recognized, which, in my opinion, as a man individually, is AI. They have to have that image or that. I mean, you can make face, like, come on now, they got robots, AI robots that look human. Like, it's not hard to, like, see what the fuck is going on. So, and he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom. Let him that Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 636, or 666. And we all know that what is his name? Charles something is the inventor of the RFID chip. I explain this every time. They made this man make a 16-bit qubit RFID chip. Now, if you 18-bit qubit. Excuse me, an 18-bit qubit, because if you take 6, 12, 18, you get 666. You break it down. So, with that being said, we understand that that is the image, and that is ultimately the mark that people will receive in their right hand or in their forehead. AI is the image, the chip is the mark. So, and with the digital ID now being talked about, it is now the first steps toward this beast system. So, I just wanted to bring that out, something to think about, something to ponder on. Make your own assumptions, do your own research, read your Bible, pray for wisdom. But in my opinion, we're not too far away from all hell breaking loose in this beast system being initiated and started by mid 2020. I'm not even gonna call it, but by the middle of next year, I feel it's gonna start getting weird and crazier and more controlled, and we just coming into them times. So with that being said, Tawab Yawam, once again, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash, Call Halayim La, Alahaya Nawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which I learned this truth from. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out there who labor in this word with truth and sincerity, and who give their bodies a living sacrifice day in and day out on the highways and byways. And to the speckled bird Israelite who happen to look like these other nations or ethnicities or races, but through the spirit and bloodline do and believe in this truth and come back to the nation of Israel, to you I say shalom. And to the few Akwaf listening and learning in obedience and silence, to you I say shalom as well. Just pray you all have a good day, and on to the next one. Shalom.